Welcome back to the Pioneer Coaches Show presented by GoMart. Go for good times, go for GoMart. I'm your host, Sports Information Director Jagger Furr, and with me now is head men's basketball coach Bob Bolen. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Jagger.
All right, Coach. Started out last week at West Liberty, the 19th ranked team in the country. It was a 94-83 loss. Up at half by 6. They cut into it about 5 minutes into the second half. It's one of those one possession games, like you mentioned before, with under 5 minutes, and they're able to pull away there late. Just what do you think of Wednesday's game?
Hey, it was a tough, hard-fought game. Just a real odd game. I mean, we out field goaled them and beat them by 10 points and lost by 11. And they're good at getting to the foul line. They attack the basket hard. They made 27 foul shots and we made 6. They shot 35 and we shot 13. But not saying it's the referee's fault, but they do a good job of driving to the basket and they draw fouls and they get to go to the line. But we played a good game. It's a 3-point game late, and Harris for them has the ball outside the top of the keys, 1 for 13 threes on the year, and he drains one.
Yep.
And that put him right back in it. I know we went up 78-74, but that's 14 games that have been down to the end of the game, tie game, less than 5 minutes to go, and we're 7-7. So we just have to figure out a way, to be better than 7-7. We're winning half of them. Those close games at the end, and there could have been a huge win. Glenville hasn't won there since 2002, since about when you were born, Jagger. But thought we had a good shot, and then we'll get to play them again.
And at Wheeling on Saturday was a similar type game. You're up, I think it was 14 in the first half. They went unconscious there in the last 3 minutes, drained a bunch of threes, cut the deficit there before halftime. Was able to get back into it in the second half, and they're late. They were able to pull away as well. What do you think of Saturday's game against Wheeling?
Again, it's a tough, hard-fought game.
Yeah.
We have to have everybody playing well to win. And we had a couple guys that didn't have a great game. And, when you have Elijah Redfern, playing terrific basketball and gets a couple fouls, that puts him on the bench.
Yeah.
That doesn't help us. And, he has to realize how valuable he is to our team and not commit a couple silly fouls. But I thought he was on his way. It was 16 points in 22 minutes. I think he was on his way to a career game, really feeling it, and he got saddled with those fouls. So that didn't help us. But, we won the battle on the boards, but we lost the turnover battle. And, they're a good team. I mean, you see their record. They're in the top 4 in the conference. It's, again, playing with everybody that's in the top of the conference, but we got to get wins. And that's what it's about. And, we'll keep working to get better and, try to get some wins against those top teams.
It's not going to get any easier this week. You got West Virginia State on the road to start out on Wednesday, a team that's been struggling as of late, but like we've talked before, this is a tough league, especially on the road. What do you want to see out of your guys on Wednesday as you head to Institute?
Well, we're going to have to match their intensity. They're honoring their fallen player Ishmael Smith before the game, and they're retiring his jersey. And, those guys are going to play extremely hard for state. Brian Poore always has them ready to go. They've had some injuries, but they have a deep roster.
Yeah.
They can always put 5 guys out there that can face the basket, that can dribble, go off, shoot three-pointers. And even their 6'7", 6'8" guys are very skilled outside the perimeter. So we're going to have to defend that. We're going to have to battle their athleticism on the boards and execute and get out and get in our running game to go down there and get a victory.
And you're looking for the season sweep there on Wednesday, and you'll have Concord on Saturday for the first time this year on the road. But, Coach, we appreciate you coming today, and good luck this coming week.
All right, Jagger. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Pioneer Coaches Show presented by GoMart. With me now is head women's basketball coach Emily Stoller. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, Coach, you continued your winning streak on Wednesday against West Liberty on the road. It was a 100-89 victory. You're up there by about 20 points. They kind of cut into it there late, but you guys were able to finish off strong. What did you think of the win on Wednesday?
Yeah, West Liberty is always a tough gym and environment to play in the conference. They shoot the 3 ball extremely well. They were able to cut the game back in. Typically, when we're up there on the road, that's typically how the games end up going there. They typically cut it back in within the third and the fourth quarter there, and that's what they did. And we knew that we had to have a pretty substantial lead going into halftime. The second half's always the hardest half to play in that gym, with the crowd coming in, for the back half of the women's game and the men's game, who's always typically nationally ranked. But proud of the girls to get the win and to finish the game up there in that environment.
And on Saturday, you were coming in averaging 95 points a game into that game on Saturday with Wheeling. Only scored 66. They were able to slow you down. Kenzie Dalton, the point guard for Wheeling, did a really good job controlling that press. It was a 69-66 loss. What do you think of Saturday's game?
Yeah, Kenzie, you mentioned Kenzie Dalton. She's a heck of a player. She fills a stat sheet every game for them, all over the place. And she's just a hard worker. And Wheeling's a hard-working team. They've got a new coaching staff, and the girls play really hard for them. Best defensive team in the league, and like you said, they held us to 66 points, which is one of our season low averages there. We knew that it was going to be, top offensive team coming in the conference versus the top defensive team, and we did not do our part. On both ends of the floor, they were able to score it lights out at 53%, their best field goal percentage on the season so far, and 40% from the 3-point line. So, definitely heading into this week and the next few games that we have on our schedule here before tournament play, we're really locking down on our principles and, making sure that we stay who we are from the beginning of the season. And
you got a chance to do that on Wednesday with West Virginia State. Chance to get a season sweep. You beat them earlier in the year, 94-83. What do you like about your chances on Wednesday on the road?
Yeah, again, another tough gym to play in. We're, talking about one of the most well-balanced teams in the league with Bailey Goins, and you got Hickman, and they've got a new kid, too, that we didn't see the first time around that's averaging, leading them and scoring as well. So it'll definitely be a tough matchup and a tough matchup on the road, but we're excited to get back in the win column and, to focus on us here moving forward.
And another tough opportunity is Saturday with Concord. You're currently in a 4-way tie for first. But, Coach, we appreciate you coming in. Good luck this week.
Thank you so much.
It's the most rewarding time of the year. GoMart's Holly Jolly Rewards are here. Snag specially marked items to earn bonus reward points and game tokens. Because nothing says holiday cheer like stacking rewards higher than Aunt Carol's Fruitcake Tower. Collect all 4 tokens and you'll unwrap an additional 2,500 bonus reward points. So make your list, check it twice, and head to the app for details. Get ready to slay the season with Holly Jolly Rewards at GoMart.
Welcome back to the Pioneer Coaches Show presented by GoMart. With me now is head wrestling coach Dylan Cottrell. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, man. Happy to be back. Talk a little bit of wrestling.
All right, Coach. It was a busy weekend for you. You went to Parkersburg High School to have this tri-match with number 6 Tiffin and Fairmont State. A couple wins there, 38-5 over Tiffin, 38-9 over Fairmont State. Tiffin, one of the top 10 teams in the country. They wrestled half their lineup. What do you think of just how the weekend transpired for you guys?
Yeah, I think first off, the event was really cool having it over at, Nick Johnson's old high school. We got to wrestle in front of family. They're Parkersburg South and Parkersburg High School, where we were at, are notorious, for some of the best wrestling in the high school division for the state of West Virginia. And so it was awesome to have some Parkersburg people over there watching. They know wrestling, and it was a cool little atmosphere. I thought we wrestled probably the best we've wrestled all year. Tiffin's the number 6 team in the country, and we knew they, might not have their full lineup coming off national duels, and that's okay. You can only wrestle who they throw out there. But even with the 5 starters, right, we went 4 for 5, yeah. Right, and had 4 bonus points. So I was really happy with the way we wrestled in Tiffin. I thought we did a good job. For some guys sticking to the game plan and for some guys a new game plan, and other guys the same stuff again. And, Max Borton had a really good win against the number 1 guy in the region. He got pinned by him last time we wrestled him, and I think he made your decision him this time. He's wrestling a lot better right now, and so getting other guys going, got some others that need to step up. And but, anytime that you beat the number 6 team in the country by 30-plus points, that's a pretty good result. I was happy with that and think that's a good kind of leap forward into what we got coming next. And then obviously, Fairmont is probably the biggest rival at the whole school here for Glenville State. And so, anytime you're wrestling Fairmont, you want to make sure and be dominant. those schools in the MEC in West Virginia, those guys are recruiting the same people that we're recruiting. When you go in there and beat teams consistently in your conference by 30 points, it's a good little caveat to, kind of say in the recruiting is, do you want to come here and be part of this and be part of a winning culture? And, it's not saying that they don't, because they do. And Gennaro does a really good job with him, right? But, when you're against in conference, rivals, you got to try to make a point.
Oh, yeah.
You got to try to make a point. And I think our guys did that. I think they went out. We wrestled maybe 5 reserves in that match. But, for the weekend, I think we went 17 for 20 in our matches.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah.
And so, yeah,
it's a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, it's the bottom line. It's a good weekend, no matter, like I said, we can't control who gets thrown out there, what it is. We're going there to scrap. I thought our guys did a good job of that. I really do. And like I said, we got some guys that are wrestling really good right now. We got some guys that really need to step up in the next 2 weeks. And so, these next 2 weeks here, getting the body ready, getting the mind ready for the conference championship here on the 31st at home, and putting out the best 10 guys that we got right now at that weight, and going and see where the chips fall after that.
And now coming up with D&E on Friday, kind of a tune-up before the Mountain East Conference Championships here on the 31st. What's your game plan there? You want to have some starters in there, maybe give them some rest for the championship, have some reserves. What's your game plan for Friday?
Yeah, so Friday is more so a great opportunity for some of our guys, some of our reserve guys, right? We'll throw them out there. We've already wrestled Davis Nelkins once this year in a try match, and they're a little beat up right now, and like everybody is, right? There's a lot of teams that they're beat up. It's a long season, and so we're going to give those guys an opportunity. So we talk all the time about next man up, right, in bad situations, but also just in general. We got a good squad and a deep squad. When you get an opportunity to wrestle, take advantage of it, right? And so some of these guys have known for about a week now that they was going to get the go in this, and we told them, hey, listen, get ready, right? Get yourself ready to go out there and put on a good performance. You get to wrestle at home. We're doing the production for the MEC, and so there's going to be a little bit more going on with, lights, camera, action stuff during it. So, it could be a cool little thing for them. So, we've just been kind of harping on those guys who are going to get the call this weekend to be ready to go and go out there and enjoy it and put a show on and be exciting, right? And so, that's what I'm really looking for, is those reserve guys to really take this opportunity and run with it. Go out there and enjoy it. Show the fans, show themselves, how good they are right now. And so, yeah, that'll kind of propel us. Our starters are going to get some rest. This is going to be a pretty tough week for them, just training wise, and then we'll go into our taper next week. So yeah, they're not going to wrestle and make the weight. They're kind of getting a little bit of a mental break from making weight. And more into a grind of a hard week of practices, and then back to that normal scheduled routine next week, tapering, getting our bodies feeling good, and then going and trying to wrestle, at a miniature peak.
And that duel on Friday night with Davis and Elkins will start at 7 p.m. here inside the Waco Center. But, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this week.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Pioneer Coaches Show presented by GoMart. With me now is head men's and women's track and field coach Dan Meyers. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Jagger, thanks for having me.
All right, Coach. It was the first time you guys have been on the track in about over a month, actually. You had 4 school records be broken, 7 all-time marks, 29 personal bests at the Muskie Meet number 1 on Saturday. What did you think of how the weekend transpired?
Yeah, I think it went well. We had Coach Markham had his sprint group firing on all cylinders. I mean, we competed in some fun 4x2 races. And as our program, we haven't done that much indoors. It's kind of like a NASCAR race with on a 200-meter track. It's kind of hectic, and but yeah, 4x2 teams set new school records, which was huge. And we on those teams we got some. On the women's side, we had Bella Skeens, Hannah Hill, Bella Torres, and Mara. And then on the men's side, we had Isaac Smith, Chase Livingood, who opened up for us. Zach Hall and Bruce Williams. So we got some guys on some school record lists that kind of help us behind the scenes that don't get a whole lot of notoriety. So I thought that was huge. And a lot of the sprinters also competed in the 500. Carson was number 2 all time, and Hannah Hill and Bella Torres are now number 1, number 2 all time. And they had some very impressive marks in that. And kind of just prepping for this weekend and getting back to their regular events. We kind of use it as a training meet. Natalie was when you go into a 200-meter flat track for any events, with the tight turns and, not as much space, it's hard to come out with PRs. And, Natalie's 5:06 on our performance list converts to a 5:03. We get a conversion. That was been a race, indoor and outdoor, that, like, even though she has our school record, that's been kind of her bugaboo, and one that she's been she definitely had a lot of emotion going into that race, and knowing that she's training for some longer distances, and she just trusted her strength, and that was an unreal performance. Nick Pitchford to run 4:19, which converts to a 4:16 this early in the season. To run 157 on that track in the 800, which converts to a 155. So Jenna Barnett, massive race. Her 10:28 converts to like a 10:22, 10:23. She's top 3 in the league right now in the 3K. And, there's just some unreal performances across the board. Janae Scott, unofficially, we're pretty sure got the facility record in shot put. She had a big PR in the weight throw. So across the board, we had a really good day. Casey Mahoney had a great day in shot put. So across the board, we had a really good day.
And, I mentioned how long it had been since you guys had performed, in an actual meet. What did you like, or what was so impressive about your team to be able to come back after being, off? Not off, obviously you guys are practicing, but from a competition for almost 6 weeks to be able to perform the way they did?
Yeah, we came back to school a week early, but I will say that day in and day out with a lot of the kids having to train inside with some of the weather that we've had. And I tell the team that their energy, attitude, and effort, that they all control that. They control that every single day and every single way. And I was really impressed with the energy, attitude, and effort that we supported our teammates well throughout the meet. We had probably an hour. We actually knocked out our team meeting before we even ran our distance women's 4x4. So we had an hour of just kind of sitting around and hanging out, and the team brought some big energy for our distance girls to go run a good 4x4. And, I just really impressed with the group of people that we have, a bunch of great kids. And the one thing that stood out to me is that everyone wants a little bit more. We're not satisfied with what we're putting down on the board. A lot of this is expected when we go into the meets now with the group that we have and some of the school records that are just kind of in eyesight. But right now, it's the next 2 weeks is going to tell a lot of where things kind of shake out in the conference. So, but it was a great start to the new year.
And now coming up, you got the Muskie meet number 2 in the Ashland Invitational. I know you're going to mix and match kind of there. What's your plan there, and what do you want to see with your team this coming weekend?
Yeah, so, usually when you go, Ashland's obviously the bigger meet this weekend, getting on a 300-meter track, bigger facility, a little bit better competition. But these Muskie meets have great competitions as well. Shout out to Muskegum. It's a 3-4-year-old facility, and one of the best 200-meter flat track facilities that I've ever been to, and they run a great meet. And we're taking some of our top throwers to Ashland, but really we still have some dogs that are going to Muskegum, and a lot of it was kind of based on the field events. Is that like a top thrower for us can maybe make a final at Muskegum and get multiple throws, and some of that Muskegum group will join us next week at Youngstown. So everyone's going to kind of get to the meet that's going to be most beneficial to them. Last year we went to Ashland with a small group, and everyone else took a weekend off, and I wanted to make sure that the first 2 weekends out of break is giving everyone a fair shot and kind of seeing what we have. And I feel like if we get to showcase everyone 2 weekends in a row, that we'll feel a little bit better about our travel list coming up to Youngstown. So everyone's got a goal in mind this weekend, and as I've told the team, no matter what meet you show up to, you got to do your job, and everyone knows what their job is and knows how they can help this team. And we're in the thick of it. Looking at the team race, like, I'd love to see our women in the top 3, top 4, our men in the top 5, and based on kind of where the standings sit so far, with not a lot of teams running relays or DMRs yet, we're in a really good spot. We're in a unique spot that we haven't been in a while, and it's our job over the next month and a half to execute.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming in. Good luck this week.
Thanks, Jagger.